Good morning, security gang, and welcome back to the CyberHub Podcast. My name is James Azar. I'm the host. I'm also Chief Information Security Officer by trade. Thank you all for tuning in this morning, Tuesday, January 27th, 2026. Almost wrapping up the month of January, the first month of the year. What a month it's been for all of us here, cybersecurity practitioner. We have a lot to talk about on today's show. Let me give you a little preview. An alleged years-long phone hacking campaign at 10 Downing Street, Nova ransomware at KPMG Netherlands, a phishing wave against Okta admins, and an actively exploited Microsoft Office zero-day leading the show. We'll also hit some remote door unlock flaws at major European firms, the latest ClickFix twist, a malware as extension pipeline on the Chrome Web Store, India tax season phishing, which will remind us that it's also coming here to the US, and Google's multi-million-dollar privacy settlement. All of that on today's show. So if you haven't buckled up and gotten ready, what are you waiting for? One way I like to get ready for the show here is obviously, my espressos, right? Like I love me a good espresso as I get ready for the show, and then as I do the show, I like enjoying it with all of you, the greatest audience on the planet, because coffee is meant to be enjoyed with others, not alone. Like I can't drink coffee. I can't drink coffee by myself. But I enjoy having an espresso while I'm on a call, speaking to some folks on my team or colleagues at the office. There's just something very great about it. It's just kind of makes it social, and I enjoy it. I've got my double espresso this morning. Whatever you're drinking, let me know in the comments. Coffee cup cheers, y'all. This is a Lavazza medium roast. It's absolutely phenomenal. All right. Let's get the ball rolling here, because 10 Downing Street is in a world of hurt after after a Telegraph report here saying the UK reporting saying senior officials around 10 Downing Street were targeted for years through mobile spyware and credential theft by the Chinese. Client collection, not noisy disruption. The Chinese, man, they are on this stuff I mean, they've been doing it. They did it to the closest aides of Boris Johnson, Liz Truss, and Rishi Sunak between 2021 to 2024. It's unclear whether that included the mobile phones of the prime minister themselves, but one source said the breach went right into the heart of 10 Downing Street. Intelligence sources in the U.S. indicate that the Chinese espionage campaign on Assault Typhoon was ongoing, raising the possibility that even Kurt Starmer and his senior staff may have also been exposed. MI5 issued an espionage alert to Parliament in November about the threat of spying from the Chinese state. And yet these people still go and bow down to the dictator. This is absolutely significant. I mean, it's a blow for the UK for years, right? Every time they've tried to kind of make a move against China, it's never worked out. Now we know why. They've been eavesdropping and listening and countering. From policy positions to negotiation timing to diplomatic readouts, the where is cabinet-level devices and secure messaging channels. The risk here is that covert monitoring and impersonation of principals could do significant damage to the UK. And I mean, the UK just in general is in a world of hurt. I think something about they have some of the worst poverty in Europe right now. I mean, the situation is dire in the English motherland. Here's one thing. When I look at something like this obviously takes us to, if they're willing to go that far against government, what would they do against private organization who don't have the capabilities to sniff this out? The Brits could sniff this out because they have a army of tools at their disposal. So at some point, this was going to get discovered. But from what I'm reading and what I'm understanding, this was only discovered because the US discovered Salt Typhoon and then shared it with the Five Eyes, which the UK is a part of, which then led for them to go hunt in their environment for it and finding the Salt Typhoon there. So again, kind of going to the idea that China cannot be trusted. The Chinese are definitely out to really try and drop the West. And there's no doubt about what their goals are, We just have to put a stop to what they're trying to do, and do so effectively, not ineffectively there. KPMG in the Netherlands is reportedly the latest victim of the Nova ransomware gang. Nova claiming a classic exfil then encrypt hit on KPMG's Dutch environment. This was likely through a multi-stage intrusion and data staging. The goal is double extortion against a high trust brand. The blast radius lands with audits clients via authentic looking work papers and timelines reused for supplier fraud. You want to reduce your exposure if you're a KPMG Netherlands customer and force callback validation on any audit related request before sharing financial data or even access to your environment. You should also be revoking all KPMG Netherlands credentials from your environment. Any sort of connections, all of those should be severed and only restored once you've been reassured that the risk is diminished. Again, in this type of environment, the other thing you should also be doing is passing around memos and setting up a new procedure of how KPMG contacts your audit teams, your accounts payable and account receivables, as well as any of the workflow information there. I would rehash it. I'd likely set some sort of key phrase, something in there in terms of identifying that you're actually speaking to someone from KPMG and not potentially a threat actor who might leap on this one, by the way, and fish someone by saying, yeah, I know we're going through the breach, but I want to get this done, blah, blah, blah. Send me something. And our staff, being the greatest people on the planet, because we all work with amazing individuals, want to be helpful, want to get the ball across the finish line, will collaborate and cooperate only to be duped by threat actors. So operational readiness here in OPSEC are going to go a very, very long way to minimizing any potential fallout from the KPMG event that you see in front of you here on the screen. So yesterday we talked a little bit about SSO theft by shiny hunters. Now we have Octane Adma Phishing. The crews are calling help desks and identity teams to push password resets or even MFA bypass, sometimes even pairing with SIM swap or even MFA fatigue to mint fresh session tokens. Being the IDP is the crown jewel. One pressured reset can pivot into SaaS and VPN type of movement, require ticketed manager approved resets with a shared secret challenge for any privileged identity. If there's no ticket and no secret, nothing changes. And empower and stand behind your help desk doing this. Fight the business on it if the business pushes back. This is a worthy cause. This is how you stop it. Now, they've been using these campaigns. Yesterday, we talked about what they're doing to Microsoft and Okta, but now that we know that they're using voice phishing. Security researcher Alon Gal confirming to the dive that he was contacted by shiny hunters last week with claims that they had extorted at least 3 companies. On Monday, Gal said the claim now includes 5 companies and will likely continue there as they proceed. So something to keep in mind there. For all of the Microsoft shops here, which is probably everyone tuning in, there's a Microsoft Office 0-day that's now being actively exploited, which includes weaponized documents or triggering Office content handling and macro path to gain initial code execution via mail and collaboration input. The motives is reliable footholds before signatures catch up. The surface itself is Office on both Windows and Mac OS. You want to turn on block all macros from the internet organization-wide and review exceptions. Fewer carve-outs, smaller blast radius, and push the patch up right away. This is CVE 2026-21509 affecting Office 2016, Office 2019, Office LTSC 2021, Office LTSC 2024, Microsoft 365 apps for the enterprise, which is the cloud-based subscription service as well. We'll continue here with cloud access flaws around Europe, where researchers are finding that cloud API weaknesses, default credentials, and even flat networks that are letting attackers pull badge logs and even remotely unlock doors across major European firms. And again, we've often talked here on the show about what the Russians have done in Europe. So the Russians will use cyber threats and cyber intelligence in order to empower physical, kinetic, on-site types of attacks. Most of the time, not making it seem like something terroristic in nature, but more criminal in nature. And they operate with criminal gangs who may or may not know what they're doing, who may be paid to go do something, thinking they're just doing something when they don't know who they're doing it for. So the Russians will employ some sort of other kind of third and fourth parties in this network in order to create sabotage. That's why the physical entry for device theft and on-prem pivoting is where cloud managed door controls are being exposed to the open internet. You want to put these controls on a dedicated OTV LAN, allow list API origins, and remove direct internet access altogether if you're concerned about this. Again, the impact here is on the Doromakaba physical access control systems that could have allowed folks to do this. This was discovered by folks at SEC Consult, a firm under the ATIS-owned Evidon, who discovered these vulnerabilities, predominantly impacting Europe there, folks. So the firm also published a whole video on it. We'll try to put that on our website at cyberhubpodcast.com after the show here. So ClickFix has been chasing us for quite some time. There's now a new variant of it. Click here to fix or update pages. Now deliver app installers plus a VPS script combos that feel legitimate and slip by user skepticism. It's pure social engineering wrapped in IT theater that arrives via malvertising, SEO poisoning, and even email links. You want to enforce Window Defender application control and app control, so only signed, approved installers run, and you should block WScript and CS and CScript from non-IT users altogether. That'll help reduce the blast radius and make it much harder to get one over your heads. The malicious Chrome extension guaranteed approval service is now available at a store near you. A paid pipeline ships benign code to pass Chrome Web Store review, then flips to token stealing behavior post-install because browser tokens beat passwords. One extension jump can land in your SaaS console, so you want to lock your browsers to an enterprise extension allow list and automatically revoke any sort of OAuth tokens when any extension is removed. That'll help mitigate any sort of risk there. Well, it's January 26th, and it's almost tax season, and hopefully soon enough we won't have any federal income tax, and therefore we would have to file less taxes and keep more of our hard-earned money. For folks in India, tax season means phishing at its highest time. Spoofed tax authority and bank portals, as well as emails, and harvesting PAN and banking credentials, personal identification numbers, and banking credentials, or even dropping loaders precisely when payroll teams are rushing filings. The victims sits across India-based staff, vendors, and expats. The outcome is payroll account takeover and even fraudulent refunds. Funnel all the tax notices into a single verified mailbox. Require out-of-band confirmation before any refund or payment action is taken if you can control it. Otherwise, awareness goes a long way. And let's wrap up with Google agreeing to pay $68 million to settle a voice recording privacy settlement. The multi-million-dollar settlement over consent and retention of voice recordings is underlying some regulators' focus on default data capture. Enterprises running recorded support lines or even assistants may mirror this exposure itself. You should publish a plain language recording notice, offer opt-out, and enforce strict retention limits with automatic deletion to make sure you're not paying $68 million in the future. Folks, today's show is really simple for me. It's about gates and season. The gates are the phones, help desk resets, office contents, door APIs and browser extension, and even some voice recordings. All are consent moments. If approval is sloppy, controls downstream won't save you. The seasons, audits, tax cycles are attackers' calendars. They know what's coming. They know we're expecting it, and we're more likely to be fooled and duped into actually doing the action they're looking for us to make, where they weaponize urgency in our own processes against us. Give user one sanction pass for any sort of risky action. Make sure you have one recovery flow, one extension portal, one tax mailbox, shorten token lifetimes, and apply friction precisely where money, identity, and doors move. That'll help you be a lot more resilient. Look, these threat actors aren't going anywhere. They're not. They're going to continue to move. As we move the goalposts forward, they follow along. They're still getting touchdowns. They're still getting field goals. They're still scoring goals. So we have to get more involved in the business process side of the house and we have to communicate it in a business effective way. Those are all going to go a long way towards giving us some longevity. That's it for our show this morning. Please make sure to check out cyberhubpodcast.com for all the latest, including very, very exclusive content. Support us on YouTube by following, and make sure to subscribe and turn on the notifications to know every time we post a brand new video. And follow us on your favorite social media and podcast listening platforms. Thank you all for tuning in. Have a great rest of your day. We'll be back tomorrow, 9 a.m. Eastern, with all the latest. Until then, stay cyber safe.
We love feedback, so make sure to connect with us on social media and subscribe to our podcast on your favorite podcast listening platform.